So we are going to have a little talk about Kundalini energy. And as Dakinis, we are using this energy a lot in our sessions, in our life. But before I start to talk, let's have a short moment of meditation. And begin to be aware of your breath. Allowing your breath to slow down. Listening to all the sounds around you. Allowing your ears to relax. And just receive. Just receive the sounds. Allowing your jaw to relax, your face, your eyes, your neck. Whole body relaxed. Deeply relaxed. Maybe you can feel your skin. And the air on your skin. And is it possible for you to feel outside your skin, around your skin? As if you could feel your energy field around your whole body. Maybe you can feel how this energy already expands when you're aware of it, that it grows. As if your boundaries are more and more lucid. Each and every moment, millions of cells in you are being exhaled out of your body. Atoms. Each and every moment, millions of atoms are being exhaled out of you. In every moment, millions of atoms are being inhaled to be an integrated part of you. Your body has skin, bones, organs, nerves, blood. And all of this is made out of atoms. Just like the earth The ground underneath you is made out of atoms. And in this moment when your body is touching the ground, millions of atoms are changing place. Atoms from your body becoming the earth, atoms from the earth becoming your body. And actually your physical body doesn't even touch the ground, because there is an energy field between you and the ground. And this lucidity between your boundaries and the boundaries of the earth. And if you were not able to distinguish the ground from your body, you would feel as if you were one with the ground. If you were not able to distinguish your hand from your body, you would feel your body as one unit. But with your awareness you can move and distinguish this from that. However, everything is one. Just allow your awareness to zoom out, as if you could leave your body from a moment. As if you could see yourself from above. You're zooming out so that you can see the place you're at right now from high, high, high above. You can see this country from high above, the land. You're zooming out more and more until you see this blue planet floating in space. Maybe you can zoom out even more so that you can see the galaxy. And I know that you can zoom out so that you can be aware of the whole universe. This ever-expanding universe. Limitless. Eternal. There are many histories about the origin of this universe. The Hindus believe that it was the sound of Om and the vibration of that sound that created this universe. Religions of other kinds speak about a God. And science speak about the Big Bang. But whatever it was that created this universe, we can call it the source. And if we look at the source from a scientific perspective, we will see that the origin of this universe was nothingness, emptiness, point zero. And that something appeared in this nothingness, in this emptiness, as existence. Nature of existence and nature of source is expansion. And science talks about one original unit of matter appearing in nothingness. And just because it appears, it has to appear parallel with itself. And just because that parallel part exists, it has to appear on a parallel. And so this chain reaction of existence, multiplying itself, expanding itself, and there is this force within universe, within the source, that brings two parts together. So imagine the origin of the universe, stardust, floating in nothingness. And because of this force that brings two together, stardust became small stones. And small stones became little rocks. And little rocks became huge rocks. And clouds of huge rocks were attracted by this force to each other and created planets. And this force that brings things together in universe called gravity, it made it all circulate in a spiral, expanding, ever expanding. Beyond your mind's limitation, beyond these dimensions that you are aware of, but yet part of your mind, part of your body, part of life. You are part of the source, and the source is a part of you. And this natural law, the energy, the force that brings two together, is what we call love. So can you for a moment be aware of your body and how your body is vibrating of source? Each and every cell of your body is vibrating of source. And your cells are holding on to each other because of this power of love. And your awareness is inside of your body because of the power of love. Just notice for a while your breath. And between each breath there is a little space. And in this space you can feel your heart beating. And for a moment, can you be aware of the actual pulsation of the heart? And can you be aware of the moment just before the heart contracts? Something really beautiful happens in this moment, just before your heart contracts to open, to allow the flow, to contract again, to allow the flow. Just before the heart contracts, there is a little discharge of electric energy inside of your heart. In your heart, you have a small space that is called the sinus node. The sinus node is a collection of nerves. And every time just before your heart contracts, the sinus node discharge energy, releases electricity that stimulates the muscle tissue of the heart to contract. And this contraction stimulates the release that makes life flow. And this little sinus node, the energy there, it doesn't judge. It doesn't judge good from bad, right from wrong, pleasure from pain, happy from sad. It keeps on discharging this energy moment after moment, day after day, year after year, without judging. And it does it for the love of life. So take a deep breath into your heart. Maybe you want to celebrate your heart with Namaste, allowing your hands to meet in front of it. As a way to say to yourself and to your heart, I see you. I see you so vast, so eternal. I see you. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes. So you can choose if you want to stay lying or sitting. But I want to share a talk about Kundalini energy. Like, there are many mysterious scriptures that describes this spiritual power. And there are many ways to look at it. And I'm going to look at it from a few angles and see if we can enlighten ourselves as broad as possible what this energy is about. So traditionally, Kundalini energy is described and symbolized as a gray, smoke-colored snake that is coiled around a black stone in the base of the spine. And this energy, this snake, is asleep. It's dormant. Until the day where you come into self-realization. Self-realization happens when your consciousness, your personal consciousness, your awareness fully merges with your matter, fully merges with your physical being. Your physical being is symbolized by the feminine, and your consciousness is symbolized by the masculine. Your consciousness can be everywhere. It can be in the mind, it can be there, it can be there, it can be in universe, everywhere, and it can be in yourself. So when your consciousness is merging with yourself, the masculine energy is merging with the feminine, they meet in the heart. And then they dance. They dance the dance of love. And it's said that this dance of love awakens Kundalini. In traditional tantric and yogic philosophy, we have like our physical body, but we also have the energy body. And the energy body has around 72,000 nadis, and nadis are energy channels where the energy is traveling. But the energy body has three major nadis: Ida, Pingala and Sushumna. Ida and Pingala, they go like this, like a spiral around Sushumna, that is like a straight line. Ida and Pingala are symbols of light and dark, masculine and feminine, and they cross in each chakra. There is a meeting point between Ida and Pingala. And in traditionally, when we look at the nadis, the energy body, we see that when Ida and Pingala is in balance, when there is a balanced flow in both your masculine and feminine, then the Sushumna opens. And when Sushumna opens, Kundalini energy rises up through the Sushumna, all the way up to the third eye, all the way up to the crown, and opens your crown to travel into the cosmic consciousness. This is how they traditionally describe the Kundalini. And when you are opening your crown and have access to the cosmic consciousness, well, you have access to cosmic knowledge, like deep knowledge, deep intuition, wisdom that is beyond comprehension. It's like understanding the nature of the universe, the nature of existence. And understanding that means fully understanding yourself, because you are that. You are the source. But what keeps us from living in that space, living in the cosmic consciousness all the time, being embodiment of the source, it is our ignorance. And our ignorance is telling me, I am that. I am this, I am that, I'm see, I'm so. And our identifications. And with the identifications comes a lot of roles, a lot of rules, a lot of things to relate to that blocks the natural flow of me, my Kundalini. So my Kundalini is blocked by everything that I'm supposed to do, that everything that I have to do, everything that I have to live up to, everything that I have to project on you. All of the projections that you have on me as well. All of my roles, all of my identifications, all of the misunderstandings is blocking Kundalini. But once we start to realize it, oh my God, and we can put our personal consciousness, our awareness onto the Kundalini, slowly, slowly, we will get a notion, we will get sense of who we really are, like a clue, a hint. And it will be like waves of insights. And these waves of insights will tremble all of our misunderstandings one by one. Can you recognize this process in yourself? And for most people this happens in a slowly awakening, like piece by piece, realizing, oh my God, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not that either, and I'm not that, I don't have to do this, I don't have to do that, oh my God. And suddenly seeing the more and more of my potential. And then Kundalini starts to rise, slowly, slowly, through the chakras. And when Kundalini rises, it opens up even more, and it's healing even more of our misunderstandings, our traumas, our blockages. Kundalini energy, it is life force energy. Life force energy here on earth. Creative energy, creative force. Deep wisdom, deep intelligence within your own body. I used to see it as a drop of universe itself. And this drop of universe is also part of the universal law of love. And it wants to unite with itself. This small part of it wants to come back to realize its vastness. And so in many spiritual traditions, Kundalini development or rising of Kundalini is a goal, is purpose of life. Awakening is a purpose of life. In some people this awakening can happen really fast and spontaneous by transmission. Someone having really strong energy that may transmit it to you, or by inspiration, or by sexual encounters, or by dancing or meditating. Many different ways can happen this spontaneous and more fast awakening. Some people get this awakening while doing drugs as well. I have a great story about how my ex was awakened, his Kundalini. We had been a couple for already 1 year, and I didn't want to transmit my Kundalini to him because the transmission of Kundalini energy could be such a strong process and overwhelming, and I don't want to have that role in my partner's life. So I waited, and he was very skeptical. Like whenever my Kundalini energy was moving and I was talking about it and all my friends were talking about it together, he was very skeptical, and he thinks it's a hoax. He thinks it's an imagination. Then one day we were in a Tantra festival in England, and there was this guy there who was quite awkward. Like he was very small, he looked like a goblin. He didn't look nice, to put it, to be straight. But he had very strong energy. So whenever you passed him, you would feel it. Whoa, wow, this guy, wow. He really has an impact on you. And my ex, he was grumpy one day, and he was lying in a couch in the living room. And on the other side of the living room was another couch. And this guy was making out there with one girl. And at one point, my ex-boyfriend lifts his eye and looks into the eyes of this other guy. And in that moment, something happens within him. It's like a jolt of energy coming from the base of his spine, poof, all the way up to his heart, all the way up to his throat, his third eye, his crown, and his whole body starts to tremble like a leaf in the wind. And he comes to me with so much excitement, so much joy, so much pleasure, so much energy. It's like, Lynn, you can't imagine what just happened. I think my Kundalini just awakened, and oh my God, I wish I knew this before. I don't need to take drugs, I don't need to drink alcohol. What is this? It's so pleasurable, it's so pleasurable, oh my God. All emotions come, tears, joy, pleasure, excitement, everything at once. And he was so high on energy. So Kundalini energy can happen spontaneously or step by step.
So you can get doses of it, and then like you maybe don't feel it so much, and then other situations you feel it again, like that?
Yeah, it can be like a slow awakening that one day you will just, wow, you will feel it and revelations will come and insights will come. And then you will live with that for a while. You will be embodied there and you will feel like you're more energized, you're more creative, you're more free. And then a few weeks after, a new wave will come. The awakening will take you one more level higher. And after that you will feel even more energized, even more creative, even more centered, even more, you know. So it can be a stepwise, it can take many years, it can take a few weeks, or it can happen in one day. But the thing is, it will always happen when you're ready for it. It will happen when you're ready for it. It's not possible to push it if you're not doing it with drugs. If you're taking drugs and working with this, it may happen by accident that it's open too fast and your mind and your body isn't ready for it. And that's where we hear all these scary stories about Kundalini making you crazy, psychotic and so on and so forth. Is when you are not ready to embrace it, because your insights that you will get may be so powerful, so overwhelming, that it encourages you to change your life completely. And for someone else looking outside, from outside, it may be observed as madness. I have another story of a friend. He was working in a regular office, computer guy with a small house on a regular street, wife and regular life. Then through meditation one day his Kundalini opened spontaneously like that, poof. And suddenly he realized pants and underwear is not for me. My body needs to be free. I need to feel myself. And he also realized shoes is definitely not for me. I want to feel the ground when I walk. It doesn't sound strange to me, but for his surrounding in his office, it was quite weird when he came wearing sarong barefoot at his job the next day. Yeah? And suddenly he started to feel aversion against sitting at the computer, because what he wanted to do, he wanted to meditate, only meditate. So his wife thought it was really like she was upset when he told her that evening that he wanted to quit his job, quite immediately as well. Yeah, because he realized that he is suffocated. He has been sitting there for 10 years, suffocating himself, slowly dying. And now he felt so alive and he wanted to keep feeling alive. So he quit his job. And from outside it may seem like this guy just got mad, but within himself he just got sane. He just woke up and he just started to prioritize himself. With the Kundalini awakening, like, the truth starts to talk so loudly within you. And it's not anyone else's truth. You can't get truth from any guru. I'm sorry. You can't have truth from any book. No. Truth comes from within you. And there are billions and billions of truths. Sometimes you can listen to someone else's truth and that awakens the truth in you. But truth always comes from within. And there is no recipe that goes for everyone. We need to find our own truth. To find that voice within and listen to it. And maybe that's the key to start to open the Kundalini.
Sorry, the key is to listen to your own...
To listen to the own truth.
Yeah.
To listen.
Boundaries.
Everything that this truth is telling me. And sometimes this truth is telling me things that I don't want to hear. My ego doesn't want to hear it. So, having a Kundalini awakening is really, really pleasurable. Gives you so much power, gives you so much connection with yourself. But if you are not listening to this truth that is awakened, you will shut down again.
So it's possible to shut down?
Of course, it is possible to shut down. And it's easy to shut it down. Just be untrue to yourself. Then it will shut down. Not without pain though. the truth can also be painful, and the changes that you have to do may be painful initially because you have to let go of your identification. You have to let go of this narrow box that you think is you, and the one who thinks that you are that, it will feel pain. You will not feel pain, but that part will feel pain. And we as Dakinis, we want to support this process in other people. And actually it is so easy. It's just to be there yourself, to be awakened yourself, and your awakening will awaken others. Easy. Of course, then there are ways that we can awaken other with as a conscious choice. So I've been studying Kundalini from a spiritual perspective, and I thought it was really like almost like a fairy tale. I didn't really believe it until it happened to me, until Kundalini energy started to move in me. And then I believed it even less, because it was such a strong and strange feeling. I didn't know what it was. So I decided to start to research what is actually happening in me right now from a scientific point of view. So we as human beings, we are all identified with our tensions. Our tensions that keeps us within the boundaries of who we think we are and what we think we have to perform. And these tensions, they have been accumulated since birth, or maybe even before birth. They have been created by other people telling you how to behave. They have been created by other people telling you who you are. And by you trying to find your way to fulfill the expectations of other people, the expectations of who you are. And these tensions that we are identified with, they are like a fingerprint. They are unique for each and every one of us. But every one of us have it on multi-dimensional level. And it's also something that is actual, physical, on a physical level. In our body we have the fascia. And the fascia is like this three-dimensional matrix that is covering every part of your body. It's everywhere. The fascia has many different roles. The fascia is there to keep my shape, to keep my boundary, to keep me in shape. It's needed for my muscles to actually be able to move. It's needed for liquid to transport throughout the body. It's needed for my body to have this shape that it has, to be able to move in space. So fascia also aids us as a mover. It is very flexible, it is super strong. And when I am moving, many times it's because my fascia is moving. My fascia is stretching on one place and contracting on another place. The fascia is also there to aid in communication between different parts of my body. When I move my foot, the upper part of my body senses this because of this three-dimensional matrix of fascia. And the sensation in the fascia is transmitted even faster than the nerve signals. So when the nerve signal hits my brain that foot is moving, the upper body already has adjusted to that. So fascia is communicating between different parts of my body, and it's constantly doing so. And it's also communicating with the external world. Fascia is super sensitive to pressure. And when I feel pressure from, for example, the existence of this tree over there, it's my fascia that feels it. So if you feel into the space right now, you may feel the objects and the people around you through your fascia. So the fascia is there to sense and to feel. The fascia is there to protect, to hold, and to sense. And when I'm holding another human being, my fascia connects with their fascia just like a mycel or a mycorrhiza. Mycorrhiza, it is the root system of the forest. It's the communication tool of the forest. It's like all of the trees' roots, all of the mushrooms' roots, all of the grass roots, all of the roots are connected under the earth. And there is big communication happening, like the forest internet goes on there. And similar, if I'm touching someone, my three-dimensional matrix of fascia feels their three-dimensional matrix of fascia. And if I'm aware of this, I will be able to feel how this person feels inside. Where are the blockages? Is it hard to breathe? Is it tense here? Is it numb there? I will be able to feel it. Not in me, but through my fascia. There is a special, really advanced awareness in the fascia. What does fascia to do with Kundalini? Anyway, I'll tell you. Every time you're identifying with something, every time that you are told to behave in a certain way that is not natural to you, there is a small contraction happening in the fascia. Every time you get scared, every time you get shocked, every time you get corrected with power, or you have an accident, or whatever happens, something is shocking you, there is a contraction happening in the fascia. And imagine that my dress is the fascia, and here is contraction happening. Just like this. And I will feel the tension on my chest, I will feel it here, and I will definitely feel it also down here, because something is pulling in this big sheet of fascia. And hopefully, you know, maybe my mom was upset and stressed one day, and I was running around in my house, really happy, 4 years old, singing loudly, and she was, "Can't you just sit still for a moment and be quiet?" And I will get this tension here. Hopefully, I would be allowed to express that emotion that I felt. Pain, sadness. Why am I not allowed to be myself? Are you the ruler in this house? Maybe I would start to cry, if that would be accepted in my culture. I would start to cry, and through the vibration of the crying, the fascia would relax again. Or maybe I would be self-confident enough to just laugh at my mom. "You're stressed today, aren't you? Come, run around with me and sing." And the vibration of this laughter would make this tension in my fascia release. But the sad thing is that we are living in a society where we are not allowed to express our emotions. Our emotions are regulating the energy by releasing the tensions in the fascia. And when we are not releasing the tensions, guess what? They stay. And it keeps on being uncomfortable. And I can go around with feeling uncomfortable for a limited period of time, then something needs to be done, because I don't want to live this uncomfortable life. So one thing that the body does naturally is turns off. It turns off the feeling. It stops to feel it right here. So I will be numb and disconnected from this area. However, every time something triggers the same sensation, like for example my mom telling me not to be too loud, I will be activated once again in the same place, and I will feel the same discomfort from this trigger.
Even though you released the...
When it's released, it's released. Yeah? But it's when it's staying and the trigger comes again, it goes even stronger. And so we all have this three-dimensional matrix, the fascia, with so many stuck tensions everywhere. And it's actually shaping our bodies, our face, the way our face looks, our bodies, the way our bodies look, is a result of these tensions. It's a result of my blocked emotions and my lifestyle, my habits. And I'm so used to this, so if my tensions would be dropped in one moment, I would go raving mad. I would not recognize myself at all. And I would have to go to the hospital for big psychosis, because I would completely lose who I think I am, because we are so identified with this. But it's also keeping us in shape. It's also keeping us slaves in our roles, because whenever we try to step out of the role, like the role that is supposed to not be too much, not to talk too loud or sing too loud, I feel like I want to do it once in a while, and then when I'm about to, again this trigger from my childhood is appearing, and it keeps me within the box, the boundary that I think that I'm supposed to live up to, my mother's expectations of a kind and good kid. So by allowing ourselves to express our emotions, we can release this energy. But there is one emotion, and emotion is energy in motion, energy moving, that we have never been told exists. And that is the Kundalini experience, the Kundalini rise. This is a natural part of our energy regulation system in our physical body, affecting the physical body, affecting the energetic body, and affecting the mental body, and affecting how we are treating each other and acting in everyday life. There is a natural invitation from the body when the trauma is too strong to start to vibrate. Just like an orgasm has the same effect, the same, almost the same kind of appearance. This is a natural response from the fascia, from the nervous system, to a strong tension, strong trauma that needs to be released. Animal has it, human has it, but humans are not allowed to cry, to laugh, to orgasm, and definitely not to release Kundalini energy and to release these tensions either in the moment that they appear or later when we become aware of them. So what happens? Most people, when they have the Kundalini awakening, suddenly their bodies start to tremble, their bodies start to vibrate. And this is nothing but an orgasmic response. It's exactly the same thing as an orgasm. I was on a lecture by a doctor in orgasmology in Sweden. And he said, first of all, we need to identify what is an orgasm. Because most people think that an orgasm is something that happens locally around the genitals, but it's not. An orgasm is a rhythmic tense and release movement from any kind of tissue in the body. Tense and release meaning this, tension and release. And that's a natural response from the muscle tissue and from the fascia. And it can happen locally around the eyes, in the face, in the hair, on the skin, in the spine, in major muscles, in muscle groups, or in the whole body at once. And what is happening? Tension, release, and the original tension is releasing by this process.
Is energy orgasm connected to...
It's exactly this.
Yeah.
Energy orgasm, Kundalini awakening, it's the same. Yeah.
Can I ask? But then, for example, no, I honestly feel like my heart is orgasming, no?
Yeah.
But I don't feel like that.
Mm.
I mean, it doesn't have to.
It's a small vibration.
It's like.
All right. There are many different kinds of orgasms as well. Thank you. So it can be a gross movement, like a gross movement, meaning that there is a lot of tension. It can be a subtle movement that is more like a vibration like this. And many times this subtle movement is mainly in the fascia. Then you can have a valley orgasm, what is like you're describing, that is so happening so natural, the release, that you don't even have to have a contraction before. It's just the release. It's like falling into endless hole of, wow, vastness. Yeah. So there are different experiences of this. But the thing is, when this happens, actual physical energy flows easier through the nervous system. Actual chemical energy flows faster through the cardiovascular system. Yes. And the tension that my muscles are doing in order to keep this trauma inside, it is released. So suddenly we have access to actual energy increasing in our being.
From the muscles.
From the muscles, from the nervous system, from the cardiovascular system.
So is the orgasm releasing the trauma?
Yes. But be aware, it needs to be a full orgasm, not this kind of small local orgasms. Yeah?
Yeah, but energy
So
orgasm.
energy orgasms, yeah. It is the best way to release a trauma. Also because it's involving a lot of neurochemistry that is released during an orgasm.
Is it just general to trauma, or is it like, do you sort of pinpoint a trauma and then...
Yeah, you can pinpoint a trauma and then work with Kundalini energy around it. Or you can work with Kundalini energy and general blockages will release. And these general blockages, they are called core emotions. Like sometimes when you're either having great sex with deep orgasms or you're having a Kundalini experience, suddenly you get in touch with deep sadness, deep anger or something, and there is no cause to it, like there's no memory attached to it. It's just the place in your body where you push all your anger down, and then suddenly it's released and you feel just the emotion. And what happens also when your body is releasing these tensions, you start to feel yourself as someone else. Like the one that I identified with suddenly changed. And with this change, we can really reprogram the nervous system. Because the nervous system, it needs some kind of shock to reprogram. Yeah? A trauma can reprogram your body, your nervous system. It does it all the time. But a trauma or a shock can also give you great benefits. There was a group of young Thai boys who were trapped in a cave last year, you remember? And they were trapped for a very long time. And they were speaking with psychologists afterwards and interviewing the psychologist, and the psychologist said that she was so curious to see what would happen with these boys. Because there could be two results. They could suffer from post-traumatic stress afterwards, severe one, or post-traumatic growth. So depending on how you're handling the shock, a trauma is a shock. It is a being fucking surprised or like overwhelmed by energy. How you're handling this determines what will be the outcome. And the outcome may be growth or may be stress and anxiety. So what Kundalini does, it is removing all these blockages slowly around the chakras. And has also great impact on the brain, great impact on the pineal gland, on the release of DMT, on the magic experiences, dreamlike experiences, spiritual experiences. And it's a great tool for healing body, energy and mind.